Relay, we're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. The spin job has already begun. Damage control by way of Fisheye's Frank Warren, who says Team Usyk looked for a way to get out.
A lot of people aren't buying this stuff, but it's not stopping Frank from trying.
Mostly because of how poorly it reflects on Frank Warren and Tyson Fury that an otherwise non-problematic fighter faced a lot of problems getting his guy in the ring.
Reputation comes into it. Strength of character.
Team Usyk said the fight must take place before the 29th of April, and if it goes later, they want different splits, Warren said to BBC Sport. The reason they did that was because they didn't think Tyson would be ready for the 29th, and suddenly, Tyson was ready for it. He's been in training camp for 2.5 weeks, got trainers in from America, and they looked for a way out.
Bullshit.
You know, I thought the whole reason they moved the fight from Saudi over to the UK was because the Saudis wouldn't be able to get the stadium up on time.
They wouldn't be able to construct it by April 29th, the proposed fight date.
Isn't that what you guys told everybody? Isn't that why you moved it from Saudi to the United Kingdom?
So, of course, Team Usyk was expecting to face Fury at the end of April.
And no later. You guys costed those guys a lot of fucking money.
Trying to save the date, remember?
They agreed to their end of the deal already. It was you guys that ended up moving the fight, trying to save the date.
Remember?
Frank Warren claims that Tyson Fury had already been in camp for 2 weeks and they got trainers in from America.
Trainers? What trainers?
The only trainer that flew in from America was Sugar Hill Stewart. Sugar Hill Stewart, in his own words, he wasn't there for Tyson Fury. He was there for Lawrence Okolie.
Tyson Fury. Everyone thought Suge's here. He's going to camp, start training with Tyson Fury. And,
you know what? Everybody thought Suge was here, but everybody forgot that I'm training Lawrence Okolie. And his fight is in Manchester.
So were you planning to leave on Sunday or Monday?
And it's only an hour. My ticket is leaving, my flight ticket leaves March the 28th.
28th?
Did you catch that? Are you understanding that? That Sugar Hill Stewart wasn't going to stay in the United Kingdom to help Tyson Fury prepare beyond Lawrence Okolie's fight.
He was going to fly back out to America on Tuesday.
He wasn't there for Tyson. He made that crystal clear.
Right.
But we're supposed to believe that Tyson Fury was in camp getting ready for Usyk.
Without his head trainer.
If anybody know the airlines and can go in and look at it, go look at it. My flight says I leave March 28th. I'm focused on Lawrence. That's what I came here for. I'm here for, Tyson knows what I'm here for. I'm here for Lawrence. Tyson was in the gym with us, but I didn't train Tyson. We didn't do pads. We didn't do anything like with Usyk or, you know, I'm training Lawrence.
Surely you can see how Sugar Hill Stewart's own words poke serious holes in Frank Warren's testimony.
It surprised me that he was as candid as he was.
Saying quite plainly that he hadn't even been working with Tyson Fury in reference to an Usyk fight. Well, Frank Warren wants me and you to believe that this whole time Tyson Fury's been getting ready for that guy, his trainer that would be getting him ready.
He would know.
Says he wasn't getting him ready. So with just about 5 weeks to go until fight night, April 29th, the head trainer's not training the fighter.
The fighter himself is altering the already agreed upon terms, the rules of engagement, insisting that they remove the rematch clauses.
Whatever it was. This guy wasn't training for a fight. He wasn't expecting one. You know what he expected? He expected that when he proposed that 70-30 split, the Usyk people would walk away. And when they didn't,
tried to raise a stink about something else.
Create waves about something else in an effort to get them to walk away so that as soon as they do, they'll wrap this around their neck and blame them.
And while Frank Warren might be helping him, helping Tyson Fury to prop up that illusion, that cover story, his own trainer, Sugar Hill Stewart, he isn't.
In fact, this whole time, Sugar Hill Stewart has been quite pessimistic as to whether or not this fight was even going to happen.
Don't believe me. Have a look for yourself.
As far as I'm concerned, it was never happening in the first place because it was never an official announcement of the fight, like a place.
As far as Sugar was concerned, the fight was never on to begin with. And I think not actually training Tyson Fury, not already making the necessary preparations, I think that has a lot to do with that. This video is from a few days ago before it was officially announced that the fight collapsed.
It was the only official announcement in reference to this fight.
A time, you know, anything like that. That was never done. So to me, it was never ever happening.
So allow me to state the obvious. Irrespective of what Frank Warren wants to run around telling the media after the fact.
Nobody believes you. They don't believe you. They don't believe Tyson Fury.
The most you can do is point out that Team Usyk are the ones that walked away without highlighting why they walked away. How difficult these negotiations were for them that led them to walk away. That's the most you could do.
Looks bad for you because Eddie Hearn's done numerous fights with these same guys, this same team. No fuss, no muss, no issues.
Anthony Joshua, who used to guys like the trash on a regular basis, he had no issues getting in the ring with this guy.
As a defending champion, the first time.
No issues, but you put Tyson Fury in that same situation with that same Usyk, and you see what the end result is.
Guy's a fucking charlatan.
He's a fraud, and nobody believes his version of the story.
Upload as many videos to your social media as you want. It's crystal clear that you quite deliberately sabotaged this fight. Likely because you view Usyk as enough of a threat that maybe you want to fight a couple of other guys first. If you ever even do fight that fucking guy.
This was always the plan.
Keep running. Fight Dubois at the copper box now, shitbag. And always know that you or anybody else like you could never tangle with the Gypsy King, you shithouse little coward.
Don't fight Tyson. Go and fight all the other guys and see what your money is. Fight Tyson and see what you earn. He gets more money losing against Tyson than fighting anybody else. What is Usyk going to get on a pay-per-view if he weren't fighting Tyson? You're going to fight, like Bekoli? Is he going to fight Hergovich?
Or even your guys, Daniel and Joe.
They won't generate the money that Tyson fights, fighting Daniel and Joe. Hold my hands up to that. I get that. Understand that. Of course I do. It won't get that. It will not generate anywhere near the numbers that he'll get for fighting Tyson. But they ain't tuning in because of him. The main attraction is Tyson. Whether people who I'm saying say that, oh, that's wrong. It's a fact.
Frank Warren is trying hard to make it seem as if all of this boiled down to choice, a choice that Team Usyk made, when in reality, his fighter was never going to fight Alexander Usyk.
This was the plan all along.
He didn't accept his end of the deal in Saudi. He sabotaged that pot of cash, only to move the fight from Saudi to the UK, where he then lowballed Alexander Usyk. And after Usyk accepts his lowball, he raises a stink about something else, something that was already agreed upon. It was not Tyson Fury's intention to fight this man.
And you know what?
What?
In spite of what Krasiuk might have said last week, I don't think it was Frank's intention to make this fight either.
I don't.
Nope.
They're talking about putting Tyson Fury in there with Joe Joyce. They're saying Joe Joyce has emerged as the front runner for the Fury fight, provided he beats Zhang.
Do you remember after the Derek Chisora fight?
Didn't Tyson Fury, immediately after that fight, as Usyk approached the ring and he was yelling in that guy's face, didn't Tyson Fury turn around and call out Joe Joyce for a fight?
Big Joe Joyce is here. And Big Joe Joyce is a warrior. I tell you what, Joe, I'm the only man who calls your name out. Everybody else is scared of you.
Yes.
So if this little rabbit don't want it and it can't be made, let's me and you, my brother, do Wembley.
Let's do it.
Come on, Joe Joyce! Come on, Joe!
The fight between Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora, where this took place, that was late last year, you understand. That was months ago.
Months ago, we saw Daniel Dubois share the ring with Kevin Lorena, a cruiserweight who moved up in weight, who also happens to be a southpaw. Like Usyk is a southpaw. Like Usyk is a cruiserweight who moved up in weight.
Think that's a coincidence? You think it's a coincidence that now Fury might end up fighting Joe Joyce and Alexander Usyk may end up fighting Daniel Dubois, which, in theory at least, would give Frank Warren 2 pay-per-views, 2 box office fights, as opposed to just 1. No, I don't think it was ever Frank's intention to make this fight happen either.
I don't think Fury had any intention of fighting this guy, and I don't think Frank had any intention of letting him.
I think the whole time, this was the plan.
Stick Usyk in there with Daniel. Drag negotiations out long enough that he ends up fighting Daniel instead of Tyson Fury.
But what about the Saudi money? Wouldn't they have wanted that?
That depends. Do you think Frank Warren and Bob Arum want to gamble the rights to that fight going to auction? Because that's how the deal structure is in Saudi.
Do you think they want to gamble the fight potentially ending up on a competing platform like Sky or DAZN?
Do you think they like the sound of that?
Yeah, the Saudis are willing to put up a fuck ton of money to buy the rights for the fight, and then the fight itself goes to auction so they can recoup that money, at which point the fight could end up anywhere. Could end up on Sky, could end up on DAZN.
So no, I don't think Tyson Fury had any intention of fighting this guy, and I don't think Frank Warren had any intention of letting him, which is why this set of negotiations, which was supposed to be easy...
It wasn't. Now Usyk is fighting Daniel Dubois, Daniel who says, "Your reign is over."
Yeah, right.
It was a major injury, but I had surgery on it straight away after the fight, the Kevin Lorena fight, nearly 4 months ago, Dubois said. To fight by the end of May, June, that would be no problem at all. It was an ACL injury. I was on crutches for about a week after the surgery, but I feel like I can recover quickly. There were a lot of thoughts going through my mind in that fight, like, oh shit, I need to get up. But I got up and came through it. I didn't even realize the knee had gone when it happened. The rehab is long, boring, and hard, but well worth it. It was like learning to walk again. Boring stuff. I'm back punching again. Bags, pads, all that. And my knee feels brand new, stronger than before. I've been running like Usain Bolt.
Anybody who caught that Kevin Lorena fight 4 months ago, they're not gonna like Daniel Dubois' chances against Alexander Usyk, especially not coming off a major surgery to his knee.
But this whole time, I think this was Frank Warren's plan. This opportunity could be for more than one belt. That's what I'm in it for. Why pass up this opportunity? I have the power to make it happen and win this fight. I'm ready to end his reign. I'm 100 up for him, fit and healthy, and I'm going to knock him out. How do I do it? Just have to land the right shot. It's all about timing, and this is my time. He's a small guy, isn't he? So I have to test that chin. Can I do better than Derek Chisora did? Of course.
Derek Chisora lost.
And you almost did too, opposite the ring Kevin Lorena in your last fight. So I'm supposed to believe this guy's gonna beat Usyk. No, I don't believe that. I don't think you guys do either, but maybe the plan is to soften up Usyk.
Tenderize him.
The problem with that plan is that Tyson Fury, if he does end up fighting Joe Joyce, he might get tenderized himself. Joe Joyce is a big guy, big punch, good engine.
Yeah, maybe, but maybe Tyson Fury himself views Joe Joyce as being less tricky and more beatable.
Maybe he does. Stylistically, Joe Joyce, he's not as light on his feet as Tyson Fury. Nowhere near as fast.
No, he's big and slow, and Tyson Fury rose to these heights, fighting big and slow guys.
So maybe they do that while Daniel Dubois does this. Daniel Dubois, who says, I have to go out there, believe in myself, and put it on him. Pressure him. I think that's definitely the key. You see how Chisora did it, and he hasn't got power like me. Usyk, your reign is over. I've got to let my hands go, not hold back, and just be myself. I know what to do. My trainer knows what to do. When I catch him, I see ways to win, and I know I've got the power to knock him out. That's me. That's how I fight, and that's what I bring. Devastation, I will add.
Listen. Alexander Usyk already shared the ring with a more experienced heavyweight than Daniel, arguably a bigger puncher as well.
Anthony Joshua, who, you'll excuse me for saying so, is in fact a cut above a Daniel Dubois. He's fought better fighters than Daniel Dubois has fought. He's fought better fighters than Daniel Dubois. He's a more educated puncher with a better amateur background than Daniel Dubois. He wasn't able to stop Alexander Usyk, so I don't think Daniel...
Yeah, I don't think old Danny Boy's gonna be able to stop Usyk.
At minimum, what Frank gets out of this, potentially, are 2 box office fights. I do think he'd bill Usyk versus Dubois as a pay-per-view in the UK, and of course he'd bill Fury versus Joyce as a pay-per-view. 2 pay-per-views instead of just 1.
You really think Fury's gonna fight Joe Joyce?
It's not a matter of what I think. That's what the preliminary reports indicate. And it is a matter of fact that he proposed fighting Joe Joyce last year.
What about fighting Andy Ruiz? All of that stuff.
Potentially fighting Deontay Wilder for a 4th time. Those are all palpable possibilities. I don't dismiss them. Though here and now, what the preliminary reports seem to indicate is that Fury and Joe Joyce might fight.
So I'm gonna operate on that assumption until further notice.
Fighting Joe Joyce does not absolve Tyson Fury of the blame for sabotaging this fight. In the eyes of many, that's exactly what he did. You know, Joe Joyce ain't Alexander Usyk. Let's make it clear. If Joe Joyce were the one that went in there and took Anthony Joshua's 3 belts from him,
then people would be demanding that Fury fight Joe Joyce.
But Joe ain't the one that took the belts from Anthony. Usyk is the one that took the belts from Anthony. You know who Joe Joyce is? Joe Joyce is a guy that Usyk slapped around in a semi-pro fight some years ago. That's who Joe Joyce is. I don't even think Joe is a bad fighter.
He's not Alexander Usyk's equal. He hasn't proven to be.
I picked him to beat Joseph Parker. I didn't just pick him to beat Joseph Parker. I picked him to stop Joseph Parker. So I know that smoking Joe Joyce is a good fighter.
But he ain't Usyk.
And I'm not about to let that fat bag of milk off the hook.
No.
Even if he does fight Joe Joyce, I'm not letting him off the hook for sabotaging this fight. How many times now has a fight collapsed as a result of Tyson Fury? The Klitschko rematch collapsed. The Anthony Joshua talks.
2 times.
Before he lost the belts to Alexander Usyk and after he lost the belts to Alexander Usyk. And now what's he trying to do? He's trying to drag this guy's name in the mud.
He's a fucking fraud. A charlatan.
They got no reason to let him off the hook. No reason to let him get away with more of his childish antics.
And you don't either.
Anybody still defending Tyson Fury's constant shenanigans at this point when it's obvious that he's the real reason this fight fell apart? Anybody defending him at this point is more of a fan of a fighter than the actual sport.
You're not a boxing fan, you're a pole smoker.
Precisely the kind of inbred mongoloids he likes to get over on, because most of his shenanigans rely on the overall ignorance of his audience.
You'd have to be fucking stupid to believe this guy.
You know, a full camp for a fight like this, a fight of this scale, this size, you might need anywhere in between 8 to 12 weeks to get ready for a fight like this, but a minimum of 8 weeks to prepare, and with just 5 weeks left until April 29th.
Just 5 weeks. This guy's still changing major deal points in the contract. Major deal points.
His head trainer, isn't even training him, and you grade A bozos actually believed he was trying to fight Alexander Usyk.
You stupid or something?
Looks like Usyk's gonna be fighting Daniel. And, you know, Daniel's his mandatory challenger, so it has to happen. Otherwise, the WBA title is forfeit. I don't think Usyk wants to give it up. Could be a Queensberry promotion, though given how things went with Fury, it's possible that that set of negotiations left a bad taste in Team Usyk's mouth. And if they can't agree to a deal, the fight goes to a purse bid.
If they don't want to deal with those people anymore, or if they make them a deal, but the Usyk people don't like the dollar amount, it's possible the deadline rolls around, it goes to a purse bid, and maybe Matchroom swoops in.
Maybe they try to win the rights to the fight. I'm fairly confident that Team Usyk would rather be working with Matchroom than go into another set of negotiations with the people over there at Queensberry, who have so wasted their time for months.
Remember, Tyson Fury only fought Derek Chisora for a third time on the premise that he was supposed to be fighting Usyk early this year.
The only news we got early this year is that the Fury people had not agreed to their end of the deal, and they wanted to move the fight from Saudi over to the UK.
Just for things to fall apart once they did.
If you're Team Usyk, do you really want to keep having a deal with Frank and George and those people over there at Queensberry, do you?
All the money that they costed you, and all the time that they wasted.
That if you can somehow get Eddie Hearn and Matchroom back into the picture, get them involved with this fight.
Like that, wouldn't you?
Get a real promoter involved that's not in the business of smoke and mirrors. A promoter that's in the business of making fights.